several billion, living long, healthy lives on a stable planet, able to provide for all our needs. Only at that point will the Anthropocene, the age of humans, be truly underway. At that point, we will be proud to call it our planet. How do we create a future in which both people and nature can thrive? We open our eyes to this moment in history. Think on a planetary scale. Embrace the challenge we face. And do something we humans are very good at. Change the world. This biodiversity loss is not just a tragedy. It's the single biggest problem we face. Without biodiversity, the world as we know it doesn't work. Our planet needs its wild spaces. Every one is a component in the global machine. Only if they are all healthy can the planet run smoothly. A less wild world is less able to provide for our needs, less able to maintain dependable weather and seasons, less able to absorb our impact. Biodiversity equals stability, and stability is what we need most of all. Can we turn this situation around? Can we rewild the world? Well, maybe, due to one key change. As societies develop, something is happening that has never happened before. People are having fewer children. Globally, since the year 2000, the number of people under 16 years old has hardly changed. The main reason our population is still rising is because people are living longer. If this continues, our population may finally stop growing by the turn of the century. By investing in education and women's rights and raising people out of poverty, we could bring about peak human even sooner. This changes everything. It gives us the opportunity we need to regain our balance. The plan for our planet is remarkably simple. Reduce our impact by making sure that everything we do, we can do forever. For the biggest gains, we could concentrate our efforts on 4 goals: phasing out fossil fuels and replacing them with renewables. This will not only slow the warming of the planet and the acidification of the ocean, but it will lead to clean air for all of us. Upgrading to efficient food production and reducing our consumption of meat. We'll require far less space to provide for ourselves, leaving more for grasslands, reducing deforestation and our demand for fresh water, and feeding more people with healthier, more affordable food. Working together to properly manage our ocean. A global network of no-fish zones and a treaty on the use of international waters would restore the health of the ocean so it actually produces more fish for us all to eat. Working hard to keep hold of the wild populations we still have, encouraging nature wherever we can. In the ocean, on land we no longer need, and even in our cities. If we make these changes, we'll be a long way to becoming a species in balance with nature once again. We will have taken a remarkable
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. We are really happy to have everyone here on board. Yes, thank you very much. And we are really glad to have such many people joining us today. And from the different sites that you are joining us, we are really happy to have you. I am Alimasi Gaston, the coordinator of program at AIDEV Africa. So we are really glad. I can see that in the chat you are very active, showing us from where you are. Kindly show us how you are excited for the today's session. Just show an emoji that shows how your day is going over there and how you have been doing. Kindly show something in the chat. Very well. Thank you very much, Niger. Grass, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you are super excited to learn a lot from the today's speaker and from the today's session. Yes, without too much delaying, we are going to start immediately the today's session. It's very informative session, and I hope that you are going to learn a lot of things today. We have a special guest, and with this special guest, I'm really happy, and I'm sure that you will learn a lot of things today. And today we will be with Dr. Femi Idou Adegoke. I hope you have seen the flyer on social media. And you have been super excited to learn a lot from today's speaker. Yes, kindly close your microphone. Thank you very much. I would like to get just one.
If you can hear us, we cannot hear you anymore. You are muted. Hello, moderator. If you can hear me, we cannot hear you anymore.
Hello, I hope now you can hear me. Oops. We are really happy to have you all on board, and we are really sorry for this network issue. And now I hope you are doing well. I was saying that if we can have someone on board who can try to share with us how they are doing. Yes, I know you are super excited to learn a lot from today's speaker. And I have seen in the chat like River State, Kingsley, we can't hear you. We are sorry, but now it's okay. If there anyone who can share with us how they are feeling, how they are, yes, kindly a volunteer, just raise the hand. I will give you the floor and share with us. I know you have.
Sorry, moderator. Sorry, for the mistake. Sorry.
I was saying if we can have someone who can share with us. Is my volume good now? Can you guys hear me? Show me if you can now hear me very well. Yes.
Yes, I can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Thank you very much. So, as I was saying, today we have a guest, and our today's speaker is Dr. Femi Idou Adegoke. Dr. Femi Idou Adegoke is a Nigerian environmental expert with over 22 years of experience. Try imagine 22 years of experience. I hope you are going to learn a lot from the experience that our speaker holds. He holds multiple degrees in waste management, in environmental sustainability. Currently, he advises the Nigerian Ministry of Environment and leads a circular economy group He is actively involved in numerous professional organizations and promotes sustainable practices in his home country. So this is what we are going to learn today from our today's speaker. Our today's speaker, Mr. Femi, welcome. Dr. Femi, welcome. We can't wait to see you on board, and we hope that we are going to have a very insightful session with you currently. Welcome, please, and have time to greet these guys. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, the moderator, and thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be here, and I hope we all learn together because we have to keep learning. We have to keep on learning and relearning, and to move the environment forward, it's everyone's responsibility. And that's where I'm going to start from. So thank you for sharing my slide. So I've been asked to speak on technologies for waste disposal and the safety measures. So the first slide has been shared, which is modern technologies for disposal of waste and hazardous waste uses and safety measures. Next slide, please. Go to the next slide, please. I won't take too much time on this slide. So yes, this is just a modern waste management chain, which shows the municipal solid waste that is generated and what needs to be done. You know, collection, sorted at source, it's the best practices. And if you can sort at source, then you can have the recyclable materials, which I have annotated up there with green. So you can see metals, paper, glass, plastics, and even the biodegradable ones can go into composting, can go into mechanization, and you have a compost. And the residual waste, which we call refuse, you can actually even prepare it to RDF, which can now go into gasification and produce electricity. So you can see that if our waste is sustainably managed and integrated, and we follow the waste management hierarchy, we can actually achieve what is called zero waste. Next slide, please. So, yes. So, yeah, the next slide is talking about the different technologies. So I've decided to not just jump into the technologies, to tell us as individuals what we can begin to do to aid the treatment process. So there are different options, which include segregation. If you generate waste, can you segregate it from your point of generation? Source segregation, source separation. And then we look at reduction, which I call the optimum R. There's a general 3 R's, but we can break that 3 R's further into several R's. But I'm going to talk about reduction now. Can you reduce the waste you generate? Yes, you can. By rethinking and buying consumer-friendly or environmentally friendly products, so you can reduce your waste generation. Reuse. You buy things that you can reuse over and over again, so you don't just buy, take, make, and dump, and you just discard. And then the other option is recycling. I know everybody is aware of recycling. I'm sure most people on this platform today are aware of recycling. And then, so what is recycling? Recycling is more efficient or more sustainable way to manage the non-reusable waste. We can recycle it to the same product or convert it to a new product entirely, that is recycling. And then we talk about the processing, the treatment. We have the chemical. Example of chemical is pyrolysis, where you use chemical process to treat the waste, the biological process, whereby you use biological methods, which example I gave earlier on the compost, where you can get compost from your organic waste, which is more natural process, and it could either be anaerobic or aerobic. Also, okay, you move to reduction, reuse. Okay, go ahead. Next slide, I've talked about reuse. So recycling, processing, disposal, yeah. So yeah, these are the benefits. So the benefits of reuse, reduce disposal needs and cost. I mentioned that energy and raw material savings. So you save energy in the new production. Then benefits of recycling, conserve resources. Oh, please slow down. Okay, it's okay, stay here. So this picture I just put in there because these are, go back a bit. Hello, please go back. Go back to the next slide. Okay, thank you. So this is to just show what creativity is in waste management. You can see what people are converting discarded or used tires to furnitures, to tables, to different sort of things. But this is actually called upcycling because you are giving it more value than what it normally used to be. Next slide, please. So yes, we're now on chemical treatment, which was what I was talking about earlier on, how you can transform waste, conversion of the organic fraction of waste into various useful compounds, such as glucose, synthetic oil, gases, glucose recovered from waste containing cellulose, which is paper. It's actually what you use in making paper, and it's biodegradable. It's environmentally friendly. So chemical treatment also in reducing hazardous nature by using specific chemical agents like acid, bases, oxidizers, reducers. These are ways that are cleaner that we can use to treat our waste rather than dumping them in the open dump or in the landfill because we'll soon run out of land spaces. And also, chemical treatment also helps to recover valuable byproducts. For example, if you pyrolyze some of your plastic, you can get biodiesel, you can get other products, even some chemicals can be extracted from your waste and they can be used for new production rather than extracting virgin raw materials. Next slide, please. So yeah, this is just to simplify, show the flow of what wastewater treatment using chemical treatment for wastewater, what it looks like. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, also, yeah, it's another diagram that shows what I mentioned in the last slide. So you can see clearly how the process is done, the effluents, the results from the cleaning, and how it is monitored, the pH measurement, and all of that. These slides shows that better. Next slide, please. So we're now on to biological treatment. Biological treatment involves processes like composting, which is anaerobic conversion of the organic waste, which is, some people call anaerobic digestion. That means you are allowing organic process in the absence of oxygen. So when you do that with your organic waste, you can get biogas, you get resources. And when you get biogas, the biogas can be used for cooking, it can be used for electricity as well. And the residual from biogas, biological treatment is actually your organic compost, which can be used as your soil conditioning for farming. So yes, composting, controlled biological decomposition, and all of that, that's what I've just mentioned. So the process of biological treatment actually takes a few times, 4 to 6 weeks. But there is not only anaerobic. You can actually do it in the aerobic space as well. But if you are going to do aerobic system, you must have land mass space. When you don't have space, you do the anaerobic, which you can containerize in a container. But the aerobic one, most popular one is the windrow system for composting, where you have to be turning on a daily basis to aerate the organic materials. And that is the organic composting, aerobic composting system. The example of that is windrow system. Next slide, please. Okay, yeah, this is just the diagram showing the organic biological treatment and what are the benefits. Provide nutrients to the soil. I mentioned earlier, soil conditioner, increases beneficial soil organisms, product soil, protect soil erosion, and then assist with pollution remediation. Next slide, please. So yeah, this landfill, but I'll call it engineered landfill, because the truth is that when we have done all other process, all the waste management hierarchy, we still have a minimal that we need to dispose, which is disposal. Because when you look at the hierarchy, disposal is at the foot of it. And what we're trying to do with the inverted waste management hierarchy is to have the least material going into disposal. And we need that as well in we need to put that in an engineered landfill. All over the world, we have engineered landfill. And what it simply means by engineered landfill is that it is planned, it is structured, and then there are layers and captions. We can capture gas, we can capture the leachate. We're not just dumping either by open dumping or by open burning or even controlled dump site, but there are no processes. So for an engineered landfill, the landfill is planned, it is layered. We have geothermal materials that will be used to lay the cells, and it will be capped, and then we can actually capture gas as well from the remaining organic waste that ends up in the engineered landfill. We can actually have gases captured through the composition of waste, which are often burned to generate power. So that gas that is captured now will now be used to fire either turbine or a gas generator, and then you get energy or power from even your engineered landfill site. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. Okay, yeah, these are the methods of landfill, different methods for doing the engineered landfill. We have the trench, we have the area method, and then we have the ramp method. I'll be sharing this, okay? These are the benefits. Yeah, cheap waste disposal option, gases given off by landfill sites to be collected. Yes, I've mentioned that. Multiple waste types can be disposed of by landfill comparison to other waste disposal methods. But the disadvantage of landfill, mainly if it is not properly engineered, you're going to have air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, and then landfill, especially open landfill that are not engineered, can contribute to global warming because of emission of greenhouse gases that are not captured, likes of methane and carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. So landfill is the least favorable treatment. So incineration. Well, incineration has been with us for almost since humanity. People burn their waste, but there has been evolution in the incineration, which is a thermal system of waste treatment. So, which involves combustion of organic materials or substances. It is done at a high temperature, and waste material is converted into ash, flue gases, and particulates, and the heat that is generated as well is usable. Yeah, but next slide, please. So yeah, this is just a diagram showing a modern incineration. It's not an open burning, and it's not just indiscriminate burning. This is a this is burning in a controlled system where the waste comes in, it is measured, this is called a crate system. The crate system. So it is the steam that is generated after the burning and the synthetic gas that is actually used to power the turbine, and then you get energy. And then even the residual, which is the ash, can also be used for as aggregates for road construction and other construction. Next slide, please. So yeah, um, these are the types of incinerating systems. The moving crate, which is the example I just showed earlier on. There's a fixed crate, there's fluidized bed, and there's a rotary clean. Next slide, please. So benefits of incineration: less space is required. So you see, you don't need massive land like for the landfill sites. Hygienic process. Yeah, the disadvantages of incineration: expensive process. Yes, it's highly capital intensive, and it's special care required. It's a professional, highly technical system that one has to be skilled. It cannot just be done by everyone. You have to learn it, study, and then get practical experience. Next slide, please. So yeah, now this is mechanical biological treatment system, what we call MBT. And I'm sure most people would have been familiar with this. We do a lot of mechanical here, not so much with biological, but you can combine both. A mechanical biological treatment system is a type of waste processing facility that combines the sorting facility with a form of biological treatment such as composting or anaerobic digestion. I know a lot of, in either formally or informally, we find out that we're doing a lot sorting of our waste either manually or even using machines in this part of the world. So an MBT plants are designed to process mixed household waste as well as commercial and industrial waste. So the advantage of this, one of the advantages of this system is even in areas where your waste are not totally sorted, you can deploy a mechanical and biological uh, treatment facility or methodology. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is a diagram showing the mechanical and biological treatment process, how the waste comes in, how the sorting, and the one for mechanical treatment goes to their own process, which is recyclables. You can see it, and you can see the mixed biodegradables. They come for the biological digestion process. And like I said, you get your organic compost and the gas, which is mainly biogas system. So that is it. This is a combined technology, combining biological and mechanical in a place where you cannot have source, multiple bin system or separation. So you can deploy this kind of system when you have a commingled collection. Next slide, please. So yes, so these are what you get after. This is what we call RDF or SRF. RDF stands for refuse derived fuel. SRF stands for solid recovered fuel. The difference between the two is not much because this is produced from compostable components that the industry calls municipal solid waste. So our everyday waste, after we have taken out the recyclables, we've taken out the organic for composting, and we're generating gas through biogas, what is left that we cannot use again are residual waste. So these residual waste are now, well, when they are shredded or treated, they become a solid waste. But when it's just left in its open space, it's not treated, those shredded and just used to fire. Most of these are used in cement kiln, industrial power system for cement factories. So they use these materials are fed into their cement kiln and they are heated or burnt at over 1,000 degrees centigrade. So it's practically burning them into ashes, and it gets mixed with the cement and it's been tested. It does not affect the quality. It does not affect the standard of the cement. So it gives them and helps them to solve the problem of using coal-fired or fossil fuel to fire their cement kiln. So most cement uh, industries in the world, they patronize RDF or SRF. Next slide, please. Okay, yeah, this is what is the difference between SRF and RDF. The main difference is how refined and processed the final product is. I've explained that earlier on, which is RDF is more time-consuming process, but the resulting material is very usable as well across the rest of industry. While RDF is not fully process is the other hand is less refined and typically not as efficient as fuel. So separation of recyclables generated in SRF, another revenue stream can be created. So yeah, those are the benefits. Next slide, please. So yes, this is another treatment method, which is called mechanical heat treatment. So, we've talked about mechanical and biological, but this one is mechanical heat system. Is an alternative waste treatment technology. This technology is also commonly termed autoclaving. So it's mainly used for medical waste. It's like a boiling system where you put the waste in a steel container in the absence of oxygen, and it is heated to a certain degree, and the materials are shredded or boiled up. So it's like a boiling system. So that's why it's called mechanical heat sorting or processing stage. With technology often found in material recovery facility, this might be the form of waste autoclave or processing stage to produce a refuse-derived fuel pellet. Next slide. So after the whole process, what is left there can actually be used as RDF, like I have mentioned, as your residual after you've taken all the benefits. So yes, this is the diagram showing the mechanical heat process. Next slide, please. I'll share this slide. So I know this slide will be shared with the organizers, and I believe they will send it to all participants, and then you can have a proper view on understanding. So yeah, these are the advantages of mechanical heat treatment, as benefit in terms of storage, transport, and handling of the output, as they are now sanitized. You remember I mentioned that it is mostly used for medical waste management, minimizes odor problem because it's an enclosed system that the heating process is taking place, significant volume reduction. Yes, after the boiling, it is reduced, volume is reduced. And then disadvantages of this application to municipal waste are limited track record.
In there that actually help you become smarter and more proactive at selling and give you insights into what's going on. Stick with me to the end. We're also going to have a look at how you can configure Dynamics 365 sales. If there are things on the screen that aren't quite the way that you would want them, no problem at all. That out. All right, there's a lot to cover here. Let's get into it. Here we are in.
There is a background noise, please. I don't know who that is. Please, can you mute so that we can get through this on time? Okay, so yes, the application of mechanical heat treatment for municipal solid waste has limited track record internationally. So it's not, we know that it's not mostly used and viability is likely to be determined by the potential markets and outlets for the fiber, as the residual that is left, fuel fractions derived from the process. So, like I said, this process is not the widely used one. It's mostly used in the medical waste system because of the sterilization process that it has. Next slide, please. So yes, advanced thermal treatment. I know most people are aware of when they talk about gasification, pyrolysis. These are advanced thermal treatment from, I talked about incineration earlier on, which is a fire burning system, a crate system, but there is an advanced thermal treatment which involves indirect burning as well. It is heated, it is used, there is an external heat that melts, but it's not directly on the waste itself in an enclosed system, which is what leads to pyrolysis and also gasification process, which you see it excludes incineration because incineration is direct, like almost direct burning. You are burning the waste itself. You are applying the fire to the waste and then now capturing the steam for energy. But in the case of pyrolysis and gasification, it is not direct fire on the waste. Next slide, please. Yeah. So these are diagrams showing the modern advanced thermal waste treatment. Next slide, please. So yes, this is an annotated diagram of an advanced treatment. And from this diagram, you can see the difference between pyrolysis and gasification. Yeah. Next slide, please. So this is pyrolysis. It's a thermal treatment of a material in the absence of oxygen to produce gas, which is synthetic gas. It produces synthetic gas, liquid, and solid char fractions. That char fractions can be used as aggregate as well. So pyrolysis generally requires an external heat, which I mentioned, source to maintain the temperature and required to avoid the introduction of air. So there's no air of any form. And at each level of temperature, you get different materials. So you get liquid at certain temperature, you get gas at certain temperature, you get char at certain temperature. So that's pyrolysis for you. Next slide, please. So yes, this is, I think I've spoken to this. So raw materials in waste is usually not appropriate. So you cannot put all your waste that is mixed together for pyrolysis. You understand? It's mostly single stream for pyrolysis. You want to pyrolyze used tires? Yes. You want to pyrolyze plastic? Yes. Different type of plastic as well. So this is a system, advanced thermal system that is feedstock specific. And you can see lower temperatures between 300 degrees Celsius to 800 degrees Celsius are used during pyrolysis materials of such as MSW, your plastic, your tires, and all of that. That's the kind of temperature you need. And in general, pyrolysis process tend to prefer consistent feedstocks, which was I was explaining about. It is feedstock specific, and there is a very limited track record of commercial scale of pyrolysis plant accepting municipal derived waste in the world. So these are like specialized systems that are used in-house by waste generated at source. For example, a plastic manufacturing company. So you can deploy pyrolysis if you need the outcome of the process. If you are still going to use, you want the oil, you want the char, you want the gas, your waste can be channeled through a minimal pyrolysis. So the economic viability of this is still not fully deployed yet. Next slide, please. Next slide. So yes, I think you shared the benefits. I've mentioned that. So one of the challenges, I think, is part of what I've mentioned. So one key issue of use of syngas is energy recovery at the advanced thermal facilities are the problems related to tarring. So the disposition of tars, the tars can cause blockages and other operational challenges. So if this usually occurs when the temperature are not consistent. So when you have tars in the process, it blocks the pipes or the caption pipes or hoses. So these are issues. So tarring issues may overcome by higher temperature. Yes. So the temperature has to be consistent and high in the processing. Next slide, please. So yes, it comes to gasification. So by here now, we'll be able to understand the difference between gasification. So for gasification, the temperature is higher. It's typically above 650 degrees all and up and above. Whereas we learned that for pyrolysis between 300 degrees to 650. So that's one major difference. And raw materials waste is usually not appropriate for gasification and typically would require some mechanical preparation. So you can't just collect your waste and say you want to gasify it. You have to have mechanical preparation and separation of examples like glass, metals, and inert materials, which are your rubble stands. Because when this goes into your gasification process, you actually need to gasify high calorific materials. That's what you put into your gasification chamber. Next slide, please. And in gasification, there is a little oxygen is allowed, whereas in pyrolysis is totally absent of oxygen. So this diagram shows how the gasification technology works. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the main product of gasification is syngas, which is synthetic gas, which contains so these gases that is mentioned that are the product, because we're capturing them and using them, they're not being released to the atmosphere, and then so they're not causing environmental problem. This is one of the reasons why these technologies, if you can master it and deploy them, they help to mitigate against climate change as well. Because methane, carbon monoxide, and hydrogen is fair anyway, but carbon monoxide and methane are examples of greenhouse gases. But when captured, they are good resources. It's only when they're released into the atmosphere that are dangerous to climate and contribute to climate change. So I said earlier on that you need high calorific material. The gas generated from gasification, we have a net calorific value of 4 to 10 nanomegajoules for its effectiveness. So the calorific value of syngas from pyrolysis and gasification is far lower than natural gas. We know that. So it's not a competition with natural gas. So these are just technologies and processes for waste treatment. So they cannot really take the place of natural gas, but they can complement whatever natural gas is doing. Next slide, please. So yeah, these are benefits of gasification. So one key issue of syngas, energy recovery, which is mentioned, and the higher application of a higher temperature. The secondary processing phase may be used to crack the tars and clean up the syngas prior to application in energy recovery system. This process is sometimes referred as syngas cleanup or polishing. So yeah, next slide, please. So yeah, he has his own challenges, and most commercial gasification facility processings MSW-derived feedstocks utilize a secondary combustion chamber to burn the syngas and recover energy by a steam circuit, and which this is not incineration. The differences between the process in practical and efficiency terms are much more modest. So some plasma gasification technologies are examples of where a high temperature electric arc method is applied potentially at various stages of the gasification process in different configurations. So it's not one size fits all. So there are several initiatives seeking to achieve high energy recovery efficiencies using gas engines and hydrogen fuel cells linked to gasifiers. So you can see that these are still technologies that are still undergoing refining and working in progress, but we can deploy to manage our municipal solid waste. And also there's need for us also as the people in this part of the world to begin to localize some of this technology and do some research and development, R&D, to see how we can think global and act local. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is a plasma gasification, is a type of gasification process. Next slide, please. So emission control, these are global standards, which is necessary because I know people are going to ask, when you use this technology, is there no emission? Yes, but they are permissive industrial emission directive, global standard. The key requirements in the IED for the operation of an advanced treatment technology facility are the minimum combustion temperature. If you are not going to achieve that temperature, then it's no longer an advanced thermal treatment anymore. Then specific emissions limits for the release of the atmosphere to the atmosphere, the following. So there are limits of these: sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen fluoride, gaseous. And so these substances, there is limit. There are global standard limits that you can emit. So we don't just say, oh, I'm just going to go and buy the system and deploy it. No, you have to follow all these regulations, and then we have to domicile this in our own system if we want to go into an advanced thermal treatment system. Next slide, please. Yes, these are other release that we cannot just release: the dust, the limit, heavy metals, dioxins and furans, carbon monoxide. So a requirement that the resulting bottom ash and slag produced have a total organic carbon content of less than 3%. So the moment it's more than 3%, it becomes a problem. So these are standards that needs to be met for you to deploy any of these advanced thermal treatment. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. If there's any question.
Yes, thank you very much for this Brian's presentation. We are really happy to have you, and we have learned a lot. I think our participants learned a lot. Can you guys show something that you have gained? And for now, we are just going to get your questions. For anyone who has a question, don't hesitate to lift your hand. We are going to give you an opportunity to ask it. If is there anyone who has a question, kindly let us know. Yes, I was saying our participants, if is there anyone who has a question, I think Annie is going to lead us to the question session. Annie.
Hello, I've seen some questions in the question and answer page. So someone asked if gasification is environmentally friendly. And like I said, yeah, it is. It is to manage our waste. It's an advanced treatment, advanced thermal treatment instead of open burning or just direct burning of your waste. So it is indirect burning or heated at a high temperature, and you have to capture some of these environmental, non-environmental friendly gases, which we release openly when we do open burning. It is captured and they are made use of. So I can tell you the gasification is environmentally friendly. Someone else asked, what is the cost implication? I think, yeah, I saw that. Somebody said, what is the cost? It is highly capital intensive, and not just the capital, it is technical and operationally high cost. So it's highly capital intensive as well. And I think someone asked, what is syngas? Syngas is synthetic gas. It's not natural gas. It's synthetic. It's because you create it from every other materials. You know, that gas is created. Okay, for example, you put plastic, you put paper, and then you eat it up. So that gas is coming from different sources. The steam gas, the synthetic gas, it's not a real gas. It's not natural gas. So that is what synthetic gas is. So I think another question is, what are the costs? Okay, I've mentioned the cost, highly cost, both financial and technical and operational. So please, I'm not hearing the person speaking. Oh, I hope the person is hearing me now. Okay, this was 2 minutes ago. Okay, I've answered what is syngas. Okay, in the case of already existing landfills, what is the best way to deal with it? Fantastic. So the best way to deal with not landfill, I can tell you authoritatively, we do not have a landfill in Nigeria. What we have in Nigeria is controlled and open dump site. And landfill, because landfill is supposed to be dug and planned and all of that. So what we have as existing dump sites and existing open dump site and controlled dump site, what can be done is we can manage it, we can rehabilitate it. I call it rehabilitation. You can call it dump site rehabilitation. And when you do a dump site rehabilitation, you have a reception center where the waste comes, and then you begin to sort. You introduce the mechanical and biological treatment, because most of the land we use as dump site in this part of the world are huge landmass. So we can begin to section the land into areas. The waste comes in, you do both manual and mechanical sorting, and then you have the recyclables, and then you have the organic waste, and then you can begin to process. So that is the way, I think, is the best way for us to manage our dump site through rehabilitation. Is using waste for animal feed a part of recycling? Well, it's part of organic waste treatment. So BSF. So you can, that is a black soldier ant fly. You can use that to create animal feed. So yes, it is actually part of recycling your biodegradable organic waste. Yes, that is. Then please, can we just get a WhatsApp group to throw more light? Okay, that's for the organizers.
Yes, I think that we will try to
okay,
reply.
there's a question that the presentation will be shared. Okay, how does gasification compare to other waste to energy technologies? Well, gasification is another waste to energy technology. There are other waste to energy technology, like I mentioned, even the crate system incineration is waste to energy. Your engineered landfill, where you capture your gas and run it through a turbine is waste to energy. So yes, gasification, but gasification is highly technical, controlled, emission controlled, also technically controlled, also operationally expensive, and financially set up, and administrative as well. So yes, I think it compares favorably well, dependent on the feedstock. I will always say to people, it's your feedstock that determines the kind of technologies to be deployed. And first thing we need to get first, which is what I talked about at the beginning, why I always include it when I'm talking about technology, is collection segregation process. If we do not have the right collection process, if we don't separate our waste, if we don't if we don't get the collections right, it will be practically impossible or difficult to deploy any of these modern waste treatment technology. Thank you. I think I've addressed all the questions.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for your brilliant presentation. And we have learned a lot, and I think our participants came up with new ideas from your presentation. And we are really glad to have you on board. And thank you very much for taking time to share this insightful, educative session with us. Thank you very much, sir. We much more appreciate it. Guys, can you kindly share emojis to show how the presentation was, to thank our speaker? Can you just share something like an emoji? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for this. And yeah, thank you. We are really happy to have you, and hope these guys learned a lot from you. I think, guys, you can see in the chat, there is a form that we have shared. Kindly ensure you fill out the tracking and evaluation from using the link which is in the chat. You can just get in the chat, the discussion chat, you can get it. Don't forget to fulfill that form. Thank you very much for being here today. We were really happy to have you, and hope that you are going to enjoy again the next sessions. I really thank the speaker, and I thank everyone who got the time to join us and learn together with us. Don't forget to fill the link, the formula, and the presentation will be shared to you. Before we close the session, I will give the floor to Emmanuel to come up with something. Dear Emmanuel, welcome.
All right. Thank you very much, Marcy. Thank you for the excellent moderation. And to Dr. Femi, thank you so much. We appreciate your time this morning and this afternoon now. I know that we actually hijacked Dr. Femi in between a stakeholder engagement on circular economy, and we don't take this for granted that you have to step out of your event and facilitate this insightful session. Thank you so much. We are glad and blessed to have you, and we look forward to further engagement. I think we can just give you the room to join your main sessions now. You can get to leave while we quickly address one or two things. The link is not going through. Anita, can you share from your end? Maybe you kindly confirm. We assume it might be your network, because I'm also trying to load my link. I can access the form from my hand if I click the link. There's an alternative link that has been shared earlier. You can get to click it. It's going to work for you. So quickly, our next session is going to be on Saturday, as we're it's time to be here this morning.
Yes, Mr. Emmanuel, it seems like you are getting a network issue. But guys, yes, welcome back, sir. Your network was cutting out.
Okay, all right. So I earlier mentioned that the next session is going to be on Saturday, and it's going to start 4 p.m. It's going to start 4 p.m. and we are going to communicate that to you, further communicate that to you in form of a reminder. But most importantly, we know that we are yet to share your presentation slide. We just have to, and in order to also add some all other learning resources with what we are going to be sharing with you. And I believe you can still hear me. You've said that there is no WhatsApp group for now. Just calm down, guys. You are going to be on WhatsApp group. Okay, I can see a lot of people anticipating for that. So we promise that in the month of April, we are going to open a WhatsApp group for you, but we want you to be done with the masterclass session. That's the first phase, and that the WhatsApp group is going to be for successful participants that are going to move to phase 2 of the program. So these are the ones that are going to move to the WhatsApp group. And also in the month of April, if you check the calendar, we have the Eco 30 Sustainable Living Challenge, which is the 30-day series, and each and every participant are meant to participate actively in this. So the challenge is going to start 1st of April and is going to end 30th of April. And there are different activities, there are different gifts to be won as well. So aside the learning and knowledge acquisition as well. So for our assessment, we are still going to have an assessment at the end of this masterclass workshop series, which we'll be having. So this is going to be communicated, but everything is going to happen within this month of March. And, March is just like few days, is ending few days from now. However, there is still lots we can achieve. There is still lots which you can achieve across your respective projects which you are doing. And most importantly, the form which we are meant to fill, please ensure you fill that form. Can ensure you fill that form. So I might not give room for questions, but if you have a specific question you want to ask, kindly drop it in the Q&A session. I might not give room for people to unmute their mic. I really love people to unmute their mic, but please kindly work with the Q&A session. Drop your question there. I think it's faster for me to respond, and some might be having network issues, so that I can see someone. Okay, there was a question that Dr. Femi said the organizer are going to throw light to. So WhatsApp group, like I promised, we are going to have WhatsApp group for those who are proceeding to phase 2 of the program. And it's very important. Your attendance is one thing that qualifies you to proceed. So some might be asking that what qualifies me to proceed to phase 2 of the program. Your attendance is one. Then your performance in the assessment is another thing, which is very, very important as well. And those are the basic things which we are also going to use to the academic team are going to use to judge you if at all you are going to proceed. But I believe each and every one on this course should proceed to the next phase. So there's no reason to leave anyone behind. The question and answer is the Q&A session is active, and I can see that. Please, how do you get the recordings? So the recording for all the presentations are on YouTube. Just type ADEF Africa. You are going to see the recording, and you can get to pick it from there. I believe when you get to ADEF Africa YouTube platform, you will see the recordings for each of this session. However, the communications team as well, they will do well to share the direct link of these recordings to you. So to make it easy for you to have access to those sessions. And also a back end is going to be shared with you for you to have access to all these presentation slides. But please, we want to ensure that each and every participant are very, very, very active with the workshop series, and you are getting to engage with your facilitator. And don't forget to connect with Dr. Femi on LinkedIn, and he's an amazing fellow which you all have to learn from. So I think at this point, I don't know if there are other questions. So the person that is asking, when are we supposed to do our circular economy proposal awareness? You have to submit your proposal now, and the project is going to be in April. I believe the project is going to be in April. So go back to the program timeline. That's the program guide that was shared with you, the dates and every other thing. Nkechi, can you use the Q&A session to drop your question? Please use the Q&A session. I really like to take your question without leaving you behind. And also, Ada, kindly use the Q&A session to drop your question. And Anita, if you can share their link so that each and everyone can participate and ensure they fill the link. Please ensure you fill the link before you exit this call. Very, very, very important. Ensure you fill the link before you exit this call. So basically, I feel these are the key things that needs to be addressed. And if there are other information, we get to communicate this with you on Saturday. And okay, the location I'm currently will differ by next month for NYC. What should I do? And feel so you should be able to project where you're going to be next month, and that should be where you should be working. You should focus to work on your circular awareness project. I want to say I attended the very first session. I couldn't feel the tracking because my network was really bad. So if you feel today and you feel next week, you are still qualified. You still have a very good point. But if you didn't feel at all, that's the most dangerous thing. It's important to feel the tracking and evaluation form. So I believe we can call it a day, and we'll see on Saturday evening at 4 p.m. And please ensure you engage across there. Each and every one, we are still going to create a platform for you to connect with each other. You also connect with all other innovators that are part of the RecycleUPNG network. And yeah, a lot of things are going on there behind the scene. And I can assure you that it's going to be a blessing to each and everyone on this call. So we wish you a very productive weekend and happy Easter celebration to you. And also, I know it's both the Christians and Muslims that are having celebration at this very good period. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone. Bye.